happy Wednesday. It's great to be back on stream again. We took a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday. I had this sneaky suspicion that a lot of people wouldn't want to hear me jibber jabber the night before Thanksgiving. I'm sure there are a lot of people traveling, getting ready for the holiday, and preparing to be with friends and family during what is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, holidays of the entire year. So we're stoked to be back. We have another great topic tonight. We're talking about the Trump bump, and I just realized I made a typo in my title, and it says the Trump bump. So I'm going to have to change that at some point. But we're going to be talking about Trump, the incoming administration, and how it could possibly affect real estate and the housing market. And if you think you're having some deja vu, yeah, we have talked about this before. However, we talked about this right after the election, and there were still a lot of unknowns about what Trump may or may not do. And since then, a few things have sort of cleared up. Some cabinet selections have been made, and Trump has said a little bit more about what he intends on doing just overall generally in the economy. So we know a little bit more information. Additionally, an article came out today, actually. It was early this morning, West Coast time, from Realtor.com that's talking about this so-called Trump bump and the shifts that we could be seeing from President Trump. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get into the article. Of course, at any time, if you guys have any questions about anything that we're talking about or just general real estate, economy, or business questions, put them into the chat. I always love hearing from the people that are watching. I love hearing where you're watching from, just so that I can have an idea of what your local market is like. So if you have any critiques, any thoughts, feel free to sound off. Just put a comment in the chat below. And if you enjoy the stream and you like the content, please don't be afraid to hit that like button. It should be somewhere right around here or so. Hit the like, really helps out the stream, and consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and then you'll get notifications whenever I go live or post a new video. So without any further ado, let's get the article up on the screen. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys at home. There we go. So this is coming from Realtor.com. Right off the bat, I know a lot of people. Hey, Hui, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for bringing that up. I was on a couple of other streams over the last couple of weeks. It's been really nice. So you may have seen me around. Welcome to my show. And I'm glad that you could be here. Hey, David, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope your Wednesday was productive. And thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. So this article is from Realtor.com, and normally I can hear the comments starting up, especially on the replay. Oh, of course, a real estate agent's going to use Realtor.com as a source. Here's the thing: Realtor.com, in this sense, they're just covering some trends that affect housing. It's really none of this is their perspective or opinion. It's all kind of just what trending news and updates and information we're getting. And the reason we're so tuned in to Trump right now is, we're always tuned into Trump because, who knows what he's going to do. But we're even more heightened right now because he made some big claims during his campaign, which we'll get into in the article. But also we're just at an interesting time where, he's the president-elect. He started to kind of fill out his cabinet. He started to kind of make his intentions clear to the public of what he wants to do and his vision for the United States is, but he can't do anything yet. So we're kind of in this weird, fluid period where we don't exactly know what's going to happen, but we're getting more information. So I do think that things will continue to change, but we're kind of at the halfway point. Remember, the election was November 5th or 6th this year. Today is December 4th, and he's going to take office in late January. So we're almost at that halfway point where, just about 6 short weeks from now, he will be the 47th president of the United States, and he will be able to enact some changes. So let's see what those changes might bring about. Donald Trump's second term could bring significant shifts to the housing market. And this was done by Keith Griffith, like I said, December 4th, 2024. So just earlier today. President-elect Donald Trump's second term in the White House could bring significant shifts to the housing market, according to the new 2025 housing forecast from Realtor.com economic research team. Now, we also covered 2025 predictions in the previous stream. So if you're wondering what we think might happen in 2025, you can go look at the previous live stream. I'll kind of wrap it up for you very quickly in summation. It looks like home price appreciation will be a little bit more towards the standard amount, which is usually 3 to 5% per year. So we're not going to see any crazy 20%, 15%, or 10% price increases for the next year, which is probably a good thing to stabilize. But more importantly, what they're anticipating is they're anticipating that interest rates will stay much more level and they won't fluctuate as much. So not necessarily that interest rates are going to drop a ton, which a lot of home buyers would like to see, a lot of real estate professionals would like to see, but we're at least going to get some stability in interest rates, which would be a huge advantage. Because I'll tell you what, nothing shakes consumer confidence when any type of major financial market goes like this. Right? Like nobody knows what to expect. Nobody knows what they're going to get. So if we can just see those interest rates just even stabilize a little bit, that's going to be a huge help. So 2025 prediction kind of in a 2-minute snapshot, that was it. Prices will remain stable with slight increases about 3 or 4% year over year. And interest rates should remain in that 6.5 to 6.75 interest rate band. We would love to see them go lower. Let me know what your thoughts are for 2025. Do you think interest rates are going to improve? Do you think affordability will improve? Do we think inventory is going to get a boost? And do I have any crash bros watching right now? I love my crash bros. I disagree with them, but I love them because I love to disagree with them. But if you think the market's going to crash, let me know in the comments and let me know why you think we're headed towards a market crash. Trump, who first gained fame as a real estate developer, will take office in January. During his previous term, the Republican pushed for tax cuts, deregulation, and business-friendly policies to spur economic growth. This is one thing that he's been very consistent with over his entire time in the limelight, really over the last 10 years or so, 12 years, is that, he was kind of touted as being this, businessman first. I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. And that's where he really gained a lot of his momentum when he first ran for president during his first term. And so we do know that like most conservative candidates, like most Republican candidates, we do know that they do tend to favor business deregulation, looser business law to stimulate that economy so that people can continue to have jobs and job growth and all of that. So nothing changes there. We do know that. If these initiatives return in his second term, which why would they not? They could have a big impact on everything from mortgage rates to new home construction, according to the new forecast. All right, what do you got for me? I hope to see a 6.0 rate in 2025. I missed the rate just a few months ago. Yeah. That was it was like maybe a 1 week window where you could have got a 6.0% rate. I will say, and I think I recall this correctly, you were in another stream, and I think you mentioned like a 6.8%. Let me know what your current rate is. Typically, we want to see at least 1 full percentage point to make that ROI, that return on investment, worth it for a refinance. But there's a lot of different little things go into that, like maybe you can get rid of PMI if the market went up and now you have 20% equity based on your down payment. That could increase the desirability of a refinance at less than that 1% kind of threshold. But let me know what rate you currently have. But yeah, we did see them dip into about 6.08 is the lowest that I recall. Hopefully we will see that again. It's possible we could see that into 2026, but a lot of people think that 2025 is probably going to hold around 6.5 to 6.7. But that could shift, right? That could shift at any time, depending on what happens with the national economy, but also the global economy as well. Let's see, minus 6.875. So you had to wait for 6. Yeah, exactly. Like, look at that memory. I thought you had 6.8. So yeah, if you see it get to 6.0, pull the trigger. Hopefully we'll see 5.99, 5.98. That would be a beautiful thing. I think that would do a lot for the market as a whole, both for buyers and sellers. I think that would really loosen things up. But again, the Fed has a tough job. They have a balancing act, right? If they cut those rates too quickly, too soon, we could see inflation again. We could see the cost of living go up again, and it could lead to some bigger problems. Hey, thanks. I try to have good memory. When it comes to real estate, when it comes to addresses, house prices, or interest rates, for some reason, they stick in my mind really well. I guess I'm in the right field for it. All right. So while President-elect Trump can work quickly with his administration to implement some regulatory changes, other policies that will affect housing, such as tax changes and broad deregulation, require the cooperation of other branches and levels of government, says Realtor.com chief economist Danielle Hale. And this is a good point. And this is why, some of the things that Trump said on the campaign trail, especially pertaining to interest rates, oh, I'm going to fire Jerome Powell. I'm going to call him into my office, blah, 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 blah. There's just certain stuff that he can't do, right? And that's one of those things. Like Trump can't get rid of Jerome Powell, can't fire him. And Trump also can't change the interest rate. However, some of his regulatory changes and policies could then also affect the economy, which then affects the interest rate. So there's some potential for that there. So some of the tax changes and some of the deregulation could have an effect, but that's going to require the cooperation of other branches of government. Now, it does help that the Senate is under Republican control. That is, the House of Representatives and Congress have a majority Republican control. So the ability for Trump to modify some of those policies, there's a lower barrier to do that, but it's not just him waving his fingers and signing something and then it taking effect the next day or the next month. So it's not just as simple as Trump going, make interest rates 3% or fire Jerome Powell. That's just, it's not going to happen because it can't happen. I think I'm not the only one who'd love to see sixes. Still improve with that rate. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. 100%. There's a lot of people that would love to see that rate. In fact, I think pretty much everyone would love to see lower interest rates. I don't know anybody who would like to see a high interest rate when it comes to mortgage interest rates. It's just not good. The only people that like high interest rates are your Uber savers that, are going to put money into a CD, into a high yield savings account, things like that, which I understand that. But when the cost of money is cheap with low interest rates, it really does stimulate the economy in all facets: housing, business, development, trade, all sorts of stuff seems to do better with lower rates. Yeah, see, we're David and I are with you. We're with you. We're in agreement on that. The size and direction of a Trump bump will depend on what campaign proposals ultimately become policy and when. For now, we expect a gradual improvement in housing market dynamics powered by broader economic factors. The new administration's policies have the potential to enhance or hamper the housing recovery, and the details will matter, she adds. And that's exactly true. And sometimes I don't like statements like this, right? Like the whole okay, well, something's going to happen. Okay, well, what's going to happen? Well, we don't know. It could be really good or it could be really bad. And it's like, well, what's even the point of talking about it? But it is important to realize that we don't know what Trump's decisions are going to do. We don't know what they're going to cause. We don't know how they could affect the market. Could be slightly good, could be slightly bad. Chances are there isn't going to be a large effect either way, most likely. And there's a lot of things that could happen, like how quickly do his policies take to even be adopted or go into effect? Will the Senate agree with those policies that require either House of Rep or Congress approval? And then how long will it take to feel the effect of that? Remember, when we're making big economic changes, when we're changing the interest rate, when we're changing tax policy, when we're changing economic policy, those are things that you don't feel overnight. You don't even feel that over the course of a month. It could take 6 months or 12 months to feel the implication of an interest rate modification from the Fed or from presidential policy. So it's hard to know, again, like this article is saying, the size and the direction of the Trump bump. It's going to be hard to know. The one thing I think we can probably count on is some type of movement. We know that housing was an extremely, extremely important pillar of this last election cycle. We know that the American people, that's one of the main things they're going to be looking at moving into 2025, 26, 27, and 28 and beyond. And really, it's something will happen. He's going to do something because, again, he knows it's in the eye of the American public. But what he'll do, we don't know. And how that will affect things, we're just not sure. And ultimately, it comes back to this circular tale that I've said probably every stream since I've been doing this. And that really is it shows that, like, when it's a good time for you to buy a home, when you have a plan, stable finances, if you're in a relationship with a financial partner, is that relationship solid, steady, and stable? If all of those things are yeses, and then you find a house that fits your needs and you like, you should buy that house. I'm not saying it's a great time for everybody to buy a house. I'm not saying it's a great time in general to buy a house. I think the best time to buy a house is when you are prepared, ready, and have a plan. That's when I think the best time to buy a house is. So regardless of whatever the size and direction of the Trump bump is, just know that things are going to change. And we do know all of the forecasts say that we're going to start to see regular appreciation year over year. We're not going to see a decline in prices. So just an idea. Hey, retired broker. Hey, thanks for stopping by, retired broker. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for checking out the stream. Bitcoin just saw the Trump bump 100K. Did it actually break 100? Because I've been keeping my eye. I'm a Bitcoin person. I've got some Bitcoin, so I'm invested in it. I'm going to look this up right now. Let's see, price of. I know it got close. It did. It hit 100K. All right. Let me just share this tab. 100. Yes, I'm seeing 100,883. Wow. Here we go. I'm going to share this just really quick. This is not a Bitcoin stream, but look at this, folks. So yes, the retired broker is absolutely correct. This is a great example of the Trump bump. And retired broker, thank you, because this is a perfect segue. One of the things that I was talking about is how Trump's cabinet selections could start to affect some of the policy that we're seeing. And this is a great example. We know that Trump is Bitcoin friendly, and we know that he just put in a Bitcoin friendly nomination for the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, which oversees a lot of securities and exchanges, so the financial markets. And this is a direct kind of reaction to Trump's cabinet pick of picking someone who is Bitcoin friendly. Now, this doesn't really affect real estate, but the same thing could happen, right? If Trump makes the right picks for his cabinet, puts the right people in place, that could instill some confidence in home builders, financing, the housing sector, consumers, and we could see a similar uptick in the housing market, not necessarily in pricing or valuation, but this is a great example of what a Trump bump could do. This is the Trump bump for Bitcoin. What if we see a similar thing for housing? Retired broker, thanks for coming to the stream. I really appreciate you sharing that little piece of news and that connection with the Trump bump from housing to Bitcoin. And all you Bitcoiners out there, congratulations, we did it. 100K, how phenomenal is that? I hope you're sitting on 10 freaking Bitcoin right now. I hope you're sitting on a mountain of Bitcoin somewhere. But even if you're not, even if you're sitting on just a little bit, congratulations. We've seen some huge gains. Look at this just in the last 6 months. I mean, this is crazy. Going from 53,000 September 7th to 100,000 on December 4th. That's insane. Retired broker, thanks for chiming into the stream on that. Now we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Go Bitcoin. A couple really, really good graphs here. I'm going to make this slightly smaller. Let's see. Michelle's got something for us. I think you're right. Perhaps that sort of bump will up consumer morale. Yeah. And that's a really important thing. The housing market and financial markets work a lot on the rumor mill, or like the I feel like mill. And what I mean by that is when people think that something is unstable, or people think that there's going to be a problem, they pull back immediately. And they start to think that that problem could happen so much that it actually becomes the problem, right? If everybody thinks that the housing market is weak and everybody stops buying or selling, what does that do? That causes the housing market to in turn be week, right? So you're absolutely right, Michelle. That consumer morale when it comes to finance markets, investment markets, and also the housing market, it's very, very real. So hopefully consumers will get a bump. David, what do you got? Let's see. That could have a wealth effect that could help young buyers if they own any Bitcoin. I just had some young buyers who had some crypto as an asset. Yeah, absolutely. Think about it, right? What if a millennial or a Gen Z bought some Bitcoin a year ago when it was at 45,000? And maybe they said, hey, you know what? I really think this is the wave. I'm going to put 5K into it or 10K into it. And they just doubled or 1.5x their money. And now all of a sudden that 10K is now 25K. Well, heck, that could be a down payment now, right? That could be a down payment. That could open the door for them. That's a great example, David. Same goes for the stock market. Stock market keeps ripping. People are wondering, where does the money come for these people to buy real estate? I got news. It's coming from the S&P 500. Incredible gains over the last 4 years. And people are cashing out some of their investment tools to put it into real estate, which is just another investment. And in fact, it's an investment that you can live in, which is pretty cool. I can't live in VOO, right? I just bought some more VOO today, which is a Vanguard index fund, great index fund that tracks the S&P 500. I can buy as much VOO as I want. I'll get a steady, probably 8 to 9% return for the most part. I can't live in that. I can't make memories in that. I can't eat a meal in my VO. I can invite my friends over to my mutual fund, but I can do that with housing. So David, great point. Both with the S&P boost and the Bitcoin boost, we could see some crypto millionaires. We could see some crypto kids that now all of a sudden say, hey, I want to reallocate some of this money into a tangible asset like real estate. So yeah, great point. They're probably doing the Trump dance right now. Yeah, they probably are. I know I am. I've got some Bitcoin. Let's go to the moon. I love it. Let's smash 100K. Let's keep on going. It's one of those things that it could be a new wave. Certainly has done well. I don't want to date myself. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but the first time I bought Bitcoin was in 2017, and I paid just $4,300 for my Bitcoin purchase. I should have bought way more. Hindsight's 2020, right? I should have bought more real estate. I should have bought more Bitcoin. I should have bought more VOO when I had the chance. But hindsight's 2020. What can you do? So let's get into this graph. This is a really cool graph. This is the 2025 Realtor.com home price forecast. So this is median sales dollars and year over year percentage. So as we can kind of see, September 24, this dotted line, let me click on here so we can, this dotted line is where we are at today. So the black thick line is the year over year price increases, and the red lines are the numbers of sales in thousands. So you can kind of see they're going on quarters here. It's about every month, every 3 months or so, they are updating this graph, and we can see that lots of volatility here. And we see that we're going to get a little bit more stable price growth in the back half of 2025, which is good. Stability is good. Year over year pricing will obviously adjust. It's going to go up and down. Year over year pricing is a tough metric right now because we're coming out of some unicorn years. The unicorn years of 2021, 2022, even 23, just a very weird time in real estate. So the year over year price metric is going to have some really big disparity depending on what month you're looking at. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But this is good news. The fact that it's going to level out is going to help. I think even the next graph we're going to get to below is even a little bit more useful. Mortgage rates expected to remain elevated. The forecast projects that mortgage rates will remain little changed in 2025, despite Trump's promise on the campaign trail to cut home loan interest rates to 3% or lower. Again, as we were talking about, it's a great thing to say, but it's not, that's an impossibility. We're not going to see 3%. We're probably not ever going to see 3% ever again, as long as we live, at least in my lifetime. Do I kind of hope I'm wrong about that? Yeah, a little bit, because I'd love to refinance and then I'd love to buy more real estate at 3%. But the odds of that are just extremely, extremely low. Historically, on average, interest rates are between 7 and 9%. So I don't think we're ever going to see that. And again, the president, regardless if it's Trump or not, it doesn't matter who the president is, the president just does not have the power and the ability to set interest rates. And so when Trump said this on the campaign trail, I was like, man, more political rhetoric. Like, Like, Trump kind of touts himself on not being a politician. He's a bona fide politician now. He's an ex-president. Once you become a president or hold any elected office, you're the politician for the rest of your life. I don't care what anybody says. But if you're just very like political speak, right? Like it was just like, come on, man. Like, you can't do that. You didn't think about that. Like you just said this, which he does for a lot of different things, but that's a complete fallacy. So sorry to burst your bubble out there. If you were betting on Trump's 3% interest rates, not going to happen. The report forecasts that mortgage rates will average 6.3% across 2025 and end the year at 6.2%. That's a leg down from the 6.7% average expected across 2024 by year end, but still well above the 4% historical average recorded from 2013 to 2019. So, hey, if we can hold steady at 6.3%, I'll take it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think holding steady in the low sixes is going to do it? David, I'd love your opinion as a fellow colleague in the real estate experience. What do we think? Do we think 6.3% is going to do it? Do we think the fact that maybe rates, maybe not going as low as we hope, but maybe being stable, do you think that's going to have a positive effect? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And here we go. This is what I was just talking about. Presidents have little direct control over mortgage rates. And in fact, little direct control. They have like no direct control over mortgage rates, which follow trends in the bond market. However, over time, economic trends can influence rates, with a strong job market, high inflation, or increased government deficits among the factors that tend to push interest rates higher. So this is where a president could have some indirect control over interest rates, right? Because maybe, if they can decrease government spending, if they can enact tax or trade policies that lower inflation, right? Then perhaps we can see some lower rates. Most of the time, most presidents don't want the job market to not be as strong. Most times presidents want to see a high labor force because that means people are employed and they're making money and typically they're happier. But when the job market is strong, it does mean higher interest rates. So again, like most things in life, pro and con, yin and yang, double-edged sword. Hey, Bryce, how you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. I'm glad you could be here. I bought a really cool move-in ready 1890s commercial storefront. That sounds awesome. Okay, I got sidetracked. I like old stuff, right? So I'm a history geek. I love watching history documentaries. And at first I thought that was a typo, 1980s, but no, 1890s. This is really cool. I bought a really cool move-in ready 1890s commercial storefront with 2 apartments above in Grand Rapids, Michigan, back in 2017 for $40K cash. Now it's worth 1.2 million. Okay. All right. Okay. We got to know more about this. We got to know more about this, Bryce. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pull you into the stream here, but 40K to 1.2 million. What changed? Was it literally just the market? Did you improve the property? Was there any zoning changes that made your property more desirable? Was there a large, employer that came to town? I got to know how you went from 40K to 1.2 million. And if anybody else is out there is watching this stream and doubts the value of real estate, Bryce's experience, albeit a little bit of a unicorn experience, most of the time it doesn't go from 40K to 1.2 million. However, that right there is the beauty of real estate. What other investment can you do that? Bryce, I got to know more about this. I also would like to see it. If you're comfortable putting the address in the chat, I would love to pull this baby up on Zillow. This thing sounds freaking awesome. That sounds amazing. Thanks for sharing. Let's see. Okay, you got something else? Lots of California started moving into Michigan since the COVID shutdown happened. Okay, so Bryce, do you think that's the driving factor? Is just that you think that just more people moving into your area? Do you think it that price appreciation growth is mostly due to just migration patterns? That would be interesting to know. Let's see. David hit me back with something. David, what do you think about rates? Okay, so I think so. So David thinks that 6.3 would help when it comes to interest rates. I would love to see something with a 5 in it. Oh God, wouldn't we all? I would go crazy. If interest rates get back to 5, I'm popping bottles of champagne on stream. Would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I would live with low to mid 6s. I'm right there with you, brother. Right there with you. This is a good question from Michelle for Bryce. Bryce, we got to know, it's 1890s. Is it haunted? Which I think is a very appropriate question. I think it's a very appropriate question. Is your 1890s storefront haunted or the apartment's haunted. And I also like to know, so you got 2 apartments. Are you living in one and renting the other out, or are you renting both out? Just kind of be interested to see. Retired broker, Bryce Cooley. I got some good deals in Michigan around then too. You know, I wish I would have been in the Michigan game at that time. One of the areas I'm looking in now for future investment, it's not quite the right time for me just now, but I think Michigan is ripe. I think Detroit is going to come roaring back in the next 10 to 15 years. I think areas like Cleveland, Indy, I think Indianapolis, Indiana is going to do very well. I think that whole little pocket kind of in the Midwest, the North Midwest there, Great Lakes region is going to do very well in the future. And I think it's one of the last few places where, you know, kind of like you did, Bryce, you can walk in, buy a place for 40, 50, 60, 100K, almost all cash or all cash. And then you can start cash flowing, making some money and diversify your portfolio with some real estate. What else you got? Okay, I know it sounds too good to be true, but Michigan's commercial real estate was dirt cheap. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And like we all know, right? It's about time in the market, right? It's about that holding. That's where you make your money, right? Bryce, good on you, brother. That good for you. I'm so glad to see someone with a great real estate success story. I don't know what your age is. Hopefully you're a young guy that's making some waves. You've really set yourself up for the future. And boy, a lot of young people could take a page out of your book. That's how you do real estate. Even if you don't live in it full time, even if you don't live in Grand Rapids, even if you live from outside the area, find where the real estate is cheap, find what you can afford and buy it, right? I think you probably agree with me. Oh my God, old opera house. Wait, it's an old opera house. Where did I miss that? Did I miss it's an old opera house? Old opera house is cool sounding. Wow. Okay. That's cool. Oh, wait. I missed a couple comments. You guys are flying on me. It's a cool building. It's an old opera house. I sell vintage clothes. I live above the business. That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. Bryce, if you want to promote the name of your business, if you guys have like, if you're online or whatever, you know, if you have an outlet, if you want to promote, post that. I would love to know more about your business. I think that's freaking awesome, man. That is what a great American, just like all American story. What a beautiful story of real estate and having an idea, risking it and doing it. That's really, really cool, Bryce. Sounds good. But Michigan, okay, we got there. Michelle says, careful of any falling chandeliers. Okay, fan of the opera reference. We like that. We like that. Bryce, even my neighbors from Santa Monica. Okay, so you're born and raised in Michigan, but your neighbors from Santa Monica. And for those that maybe aren't aware, Santa Monica is a Southern California city. It's considered the west side of LA. Santa Monica is some primo real estate. I mean, like, go into Zillow and type in Santa Monica, California, and your jaw will hit the floor if you're not familiar with California real estate. It is insane. I mean, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's highly coveted. Mondo expensive, insanely expensive. So interesting to see. I wonder how your neighbor does with your Michigan winters. Because right now it's I think it's 64 degrees outside. It's 7 p.m. my time. It's about 64 degrees outside, and like we have the heater on. I've got a sweatshirt on. Like it's cold for us Californians. Dallas, hey Dallas, how's it going? Thanks for joining the stream, and I appreciate you dropping a comment. Don't listen to gatekeepers on the internet saying renting is better. Renting is never better. Hallelujah. Say it louder for the people in the back. I will tell you, Dallas, I agree with you about 99% of the times. There's very, very few times that renting ever comes out ahead. And it's very rare. The only time renting is ever better is if you know for a fact that you will only be in that location for 2 to 4 years, or I should say 1 to 4 years. Like for instance, if you know that you have a job, but you're going to get a promotion, it's going to require you to move across the country. Probably shouldn't buy. It's hard to make money on real estate in anything less than about 6 years. 7 years is typically considered the break-even point. We're going to forget about the pandemic unicorn years where property values went up 20% a year. That's obviously different. But yes, you're correct. Renting is almost never better. Owning is how you secure your generational wealth. It's where you build your equity. No one's ever going to raise your rent. No one's ever going to kick you out because they want to move back in. In fact, a little tangent here. My wife and I, Michelle, we were watching a commercial. We watched this commercial. We both saw the commercial. We both heard the commercial. Then we both looked at each other like, what the heck? That was so stupid. It's a commercial about about getting a loan, I think through VA loans. VA loans are not stupid. VA loans are phenomenal. But this couple, this older couple had a family member, disabled family member, adult family member, and they lived in a rental. And they had this really sad story about how one day their landlord knocked on the door and said, "Hey, you've got to get out and you have to move because I'm going to move back into this house." And they were like distraught. They were super sad and they felt really bad. And I thought to myself, this is a wonderful example of one of the downsides to long-term renting. You get so comfortable in your space. You've rented in your home for 22 years, 18 years, whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden you got to move out and you only get 60 days here in California. Some places are less. And your whole life is uprooted. Take control of your own life, like Dallas says, and be a buyer and own your real estate. Dave Matney says that's way cool to Bryce. It is way freaking cool. Yeah, these are so-called business gurus. Yeah, and a lot of times, Dallas, these gurus will tell you that because it's what their audience wants to hear. They're telling people what they want to hear. They're telling people, don't worry about buying real estate. Don't worry about saving up 80K or 50K or 100K. That's too difficult. Just rent. Don't worry about it. And then put your money into a savings account, which, you should put your money into a savings account. You should invest your money. But I don't know. Real estate, to me, the best investment. And just look at the graph, right? It's really basics. Real estate 101. Totally agree with Dallas. Yes. Well, you're the wife of a real estate agent, so I'm not surprised, Michelle. Bryce, thanks. This is the entrepreneurial spirit I want everyone to do, including myself. Bryce, you are awesome. You are awesome. I wish you the best success. If I ever make my way to Grand Rapids, I'm going to look you up. I want to check out your store in an old opera house that's got vintage stuff. That sounds freaking awesome. That sounds so cool. Dallas, back with us. Just agreeing with you, Joe, about the value of real estate. Yep. Finally purchased my first studio condo just outside the Chicago area at 6.35% with the credit union after spending thousands on rent for 3 years. Congratulations, everybody. Okay, I got 19 people. My viewership is very high right now. Thank you, everybody's watching. If you're watching right now, we need to do a round of applause. We need to do the clap emoji. We need to congratulate Dallas on their purchase of their first property, a studio condo in Chicago. After wasting all that money on rent, you're finally building equity. Congratulations. Well done. I know it takes a lot of work and it might just be a little studio condo, but don't let anybody minimize what your accomplishment is, because you are a homeowner, you're building equity, and you have stopped paying someone else. Congratulations to you. What a phenomenal accomplishment. That's just so great to hear. Congratulations. And I'm finally able to save money because I feel like my expenses are stable now. Yes. Oh my gosh. You're saying all the things that a good real estate agent like myself tries to convey to people, right? Your expenses are now stable, right? You know what you're into. No one's ever going to increase your rent by 8% every year. No one's going to stick a notice for you to move out on your door. You control your own world. And isn't that a beautiful thing? No one says you can't paint a wall lime green. Dallas, you paint the wall whatever freaking color you want because it's your house and you can do it. Good for you, man. Bryce, renting is very tough for anyone to run a business. Owning real estate really helps make your life easier. You invest into yourself. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so perfect. Not giving that money away to someone else. Bang on, Bryce, you're exactly right. Always bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself when you can. And owning real estate really does make that happen. Not to mention, you get all the tax benefits, the interest write-off. It's a wonderful thing. The security, you get to make memories. There's so many wonderful things. The worst thing about buying real estate is that it's expensive. But as I tell everyone, usually the good things in life, the things worth doing, are hard. Usually the things worth doing have a little bit of an uphill walk. If everything worth doing was simple, everybody would have everything they want, right? And it's just not that way. And owning real estate is a beautiful thing, but doesn't mean it's easy. It takes work. Dallas will tell you, I bet Dallas had to grind. I bet Dallas had to pick up some extra shifts and cut out some stuff in the budget and save the pennies where they could to get that studio apartment. It's not an easy thing to do, but the hard things in life typically are the most rewarding, right? Oh, we got a Bitcoin update. I need a Bitcoin bell. Ding, 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 ding. Retired broker. Bitcoin passed 102,000. I need to refresh my screen. Is it 103? Is it 103 now? Oh, wait, I want to share this. I hit the wrong button. I got too excited. Retired broker got me too excited. 103,000. And 2 trillion in market cap. It is, friends, it's a good day to be a Bitcoin bro, such as myself. This is phenomenal. This is great. Michelle's clapping it up for Dallas. Heck yeah. Way to go, Dallas. Big deal. It is a huge deal. Congratulations, Dallas. I wish I had something to like give you. I wish I had like a prize or something to send to you. You're welcome, Dallas. What a great accomplishment. Thanks for stopping in the stream. I hope you stick around and enjoy the rest of it. It's always so refreshing to hear a positive real estate story. You know, we hear so many negative stories. We hear so much negativity about real estate. We hear so many freaking people tell young people they can't own a home or they can't buy a home or it's too hard to own a home. And we need to ditch that. We got to get away from that. I'm not saying it's not hard, but if you ingrain something into your head long enough that you can't do something, guess what? You can't do it. You won't be able to do it. If you think you can't do it, you already aren't able to do it, right? And we hear so much of that in the news, in the media. And it's not a good thing. So I appreciate you coming on, both Dallas and Bryce, for sharing your very, very cool stories. Always love to hear that. It's an excellent, excellent thing to hear. I really appreciate you guys sharing. What else do you got for me, Bryce? Owning a storefront and living above the business has nice advantage. Yeah, I could imagine that, right? I save money on gas and time, not having to drive to work, grocery store, and post office is next door. Bryce, I'm telling you, you see this? This is me showing you that you've got it dialed in, baby. You got it dialed in. You got it figured out. You got that dial to like max 10 on the comfort level. Good for you, Bryce. So awesome. That is so great. And yeah, think about all the advantage you get from no commute, saving time, saving money. You probably get to enjoy more time with your friends and family. Plus, you're your own boss. Get after it, brother. Good for you. That's excellent to hear. Okay, so let's get back to Trump. Of course, if you guys have the comments, keep them coming. I love chatting with you guys. I love chatting with you guys more than going over these articles. So if you guys have anything about real estate success stories, if you guys need help, if you have a real estate problem, let me know what you got. Pam, okay, everybody, got to make a special announcement. Pam Hughes is in the stream. This is my mom. So everybody say hi to my mom. She just figured out how to write comments on YouTube. We helped her. We got her set up. So now she can watch me on the TV and she can leave comments in my stream to be the supportive mom that she's always been. Mom says, living below your means is a valuable lesson. Kudos to Dallas and Bryce. So Dallas and Bryce, you got my mom's seal of approval on your hard work, which is awesome. Thanks, Mom, for hanging out. Okay, so let's get back to our article. Although Trump has tapped billionaire Elon Musk to find ways to slash government spending, interest rates jumped immediately after Trump's election win as markets anticipated either stronger economic growth, higher inflation, larger deficits, or some combination. If you guys remember, we had interest rates that actually got cut, but then the mortgage interest rate went up because some of the financial experts, the gurus, the markets thought, man, Trump's going to spend some money. He's going to levy some tariffs, and it's going to cause some problems for the consumer. And that's why interest rates ticked up a little bit. The forecast projects that home prices will grow an additional 3.7% through next year after rising 4% this year and 1.1% in 2023. So in 2023, we did 1.1% increase, which is, again, 2023 was the worst year for housing that we've had in like 33 years, the lowest turnover, just not very active at all. And to still have 1.1% growth in 2023 is a great sign. Then we're going to have 4% in 2024. Then in 2025, we're looking at 3.7%. So all the crash bros that might be lurking my stream, when's it happening? When's it happening, right? Okay, I understand projections and forecasts have been wrong in the past. However, I don't think all of these are going to be wrong. I just don't see it. All right, we got some more stuff. David says, hi, Pam Hughes. David, meet Pam. Pam, meet David. Good buddy of mine through the YouTube group. Both my moms are watching. I got my mom and my mom-in-law watching. Hi, mom-in-law out there. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Dallas is back with some more stuff. Let's see what we got, Dallas. Hit me with it. They're trying to convince people about giving into this renting epidemic. I was almost convinced to settle, but it just made no financial sense when I calculated how much money I was losing yearly. Yeah, and you want to know why? It's because people that own homes want you to continue to rent. And especially landlords want you to continue to rent. So most people putting out that narrative won't admit it quickly, but most of those people they're telling you to rent are people. There's two flavors of people that love the rent is better narrative. The first person is someone who owns rentals, a landlord. Of course, they think renting is better. They want you to rent. They want you to keep paying them their checks every month. I don't blame them. The other flavor is the person that has taken in so much doom information, so much negativity that they now believe that it is absolutely true, and they have conceded. They have given up. They have gone, so many people have told me that it's so bad and so hard, I'm just not going to do it. I've been beaten down. I'm convinced it is impossible for me to do this. And those are your two flavors of people, and both those people have some, they've got some issues. So I agree with you. There's a huge narrative trying to convince people to do that. And yeah, like you said, nothing to show for it. You pay all that money, nothing to show for it. But Dallas, if you rent, you don't have to pay maintenance or property tax. Isn't that worth it? Forget that it's lumped into your rent. Forget that your rent goes up 5 to 8% every year, but you don't have to mow the lawn. Isn't that worth it? I don't think so. Innovative. Hey, what's going on, buddy? I haven't seen you around a little while. Thanks for hanging out, Innovative. It's always good to have you in the stream. You always have great remarks. Let's see what you got for me. I think that Trump's push toward deregulation. Yeah, he's going to push towards deregulation. We do know that. Well, if anything, incentivize. Oh, okay. I maybe some autocorrect on the phone. Will, if anything, incentivize new housing supply. I agree with you there. So it's bullish supply, which should suppress prices and I think interest rates. I don't disagree with you. I think you're on the right track. And I do believe that we do need to have some deregulation in building. We need to make it easier for people to build houses. I wish I had the stat. It might be in one of these articles somewhere that I had. Oh yes, in the article, in my backup article, which I don't think we're gonna have time to get to because I've just had so much freaking fun chatting with all you guys tonight. 24%. I'm gonna share this tab really quickly. Regulation typically makes up almost 24% of a house's cost. A quarter of the house's cost in regulation, according to a study by the National Association of House Builders, which comes to around $90,000 for the average home in America. Imagine if we could just shave off some of that. Imagine if we could get that down to just 15%. That would be amazing. And again, chances are those savings are going to be passed to the consumer, because if one builder doesn't pass on those savings, but a competing builder does pass on those savings and their product is 15% more affordable than another one, where do you think consumers are going to go? Right? So this would be a huge, huge increase. So yeah, I'm with you. I do think that deregulation could incentivize new housing supply. If we get an increase in housing supply, then we could see prices level out and sustain, right? I think it's going to take a lot of time for that to happen. I don't think that's going to be something that happens right away, but I absolutely agree with you that that could be an outcome. I tell people, if you own a shack on the side of the road, you're better off than the person paying rent. Yeah, hey, Dallas, we're on the same exact wavelength. I'm right with you. I think you are 100% correct. Renting has its purpose. Renting has its niche. Is it better than buying? Almost always no, with a little asterisk, because there are some rare caveats where renting is better. It's a case-by-case situation. Interest rates will stay higher unless we have a recession, which would also hurt housing prices. I just see a lot of headwinds for increased home prices. Chief among which is just affordability. Yeah, Innovative. You're a smart guy. We've gone back and forth a couple times with some great dialogue. You're thinking the right way. I think you're thinking the right way. And it is. We are still at this very awkward time. Again, we have a new president, but they're not in office, but they're telling us what they're planning on doing, and they're showing us their cabinet picks, but it hasn't taken effect yet. So we're kind of swirling. We're just kind of swirling right now. So, but we'll get some ideas. Dallas with the laughing emojis. Yeah, thanks. I think you're laughing at how right we are, which is great. I'll laugh with you. Yeah, for sure. And yes, it's talk to text, Christian. Hey, innovative. Thanks so much. I was able to read through it. I was able to decipher. So you're all good. Hey, I just appreciate you opening up the stream on your phone. I appreciate you contributing. Thanks so much for stopping by. Keep the comments rolling, guys. This is a lot of fun. Great engagement tonight. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for chiming in, giving your ideas and your thoughts. It's much more fun when we get to dialogue back and forth. Let's get back over to our other tab and get this article knocked out. As measured by the typical share of income spent on home payments, affordability remains near record lows, and the forecast projects a little improvement next year. Innovative. It's like you read the article ahead of me. You just said this. We're going to have some headwinds, and affordability is probably going to remain low. And that's why if you're in the spot where you could potentially buy a house, you got to do it, because affordability is going to stay low. It's not going to get much better. If you are waiting for affordability to improve, I think you're going to be left on the shore while the boat sails away, unfortunately. Cackleberry Cottage, what's up? Hey, thanks for coming over to my stream. I think we were talking back and forth a little bit in, was it Jen's stream or maybe Jackie's? It was Jackie's stream. I think Jackie Baker's stream. We were talking. Thank you for finding your way over to my stream. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the comment. Let's see what you got. My husband and I bought our first house in 1981 at 15% interest rate. Cackleberry, if you told millennials today that you bought a house with a 15% interest rate, they would probably die on the spot. They would just dematerialize and fade into the ethos, because our little minds as millennials cannot even comprehend what 15% means. And I try to tell people that if you think 7% is high or 8% is high, you should go back to the early 80s when they were 13, 15, and 18%. Madness. Things go up and down, but we have almost always owned a home. We felt owning something is better than renting. And you are 100% correct. You probably paid off that home long ago. And if you didn't, you probably refinanced a few times, got that interest rate much lower, lowered that payment a ton. And unlike a renter whose payment went up, your payment, I'm willing to bet, probably went down or is now non-existent. And there's nothing in the world that a renter can do to make their rent go down. That never happens, literally. See what else you got, Cackle. The sad part of that was we were so stupid that we didn't know that 15% was bad. But hey, you don't got to worry about it. You made it past that. And is 15% bad? Yeah, that's really high. But is 15% bad at the time? No. How would you know? How would you know? Right? And that's why it always comes down to, like, when the opportunity presents itself, if you find yourself in the right space, the right financial standing, and you find a house that you like and it makes sense at the time, that's the best time to buy. Not 6 months ago, not 6 months in the future. Do I wait for rates to go down? Do whatever. How could you know, right? Let's see. And then we sold it and moved to California. There you go. The house was $24,000. Oh my God. Oh, all the millennials in the chat are fuming right now. Cackleberry, don't you dare tell us you bought a home for $24,000. Screw your interest rate. You could pay 25% interest rate on $24,000. But again, much different times. I'm sure your income was much different. I'm sure your savings were much different. Obviously, it's just different. And that's why you got to put everything into perspective, right? It's all about perspective. We can't look at what we could have had or what we should have done. Right. Like retired broker. Was that our Bitcoin guy? Where is he? Retired broker. We were talking about earlier how it would have been great if we bought 10 Bitcoin a year or two ago, or heck, 100 Bitcoin 10 years ago. And look, now it's worth $103,000. And who would have ever thought, right? Don't worry about it. You can't Monday morning quarterback. Here's the thing though. It was a very small house. I think sometimes you have to lower your expectations. You guys, if I could give you all awards, it's like y'all are in my brain. That's another wonderful thing that new home buyers need to see. And this is the effect of HGTV. Everything new, remodel, open concept, new everything, updated, upgraded, everything. Buyers now have this very hard time. They have an inability with living with what's there. It seems like every time I show a buyer a house and the kitchen's a little bit dated or the flooring's a little bit dated, they go, "Oh, we have to. It's a tear down." A tear down? It's a tear down because the countertops are tile and not quartz. The place is a tear down. It's just not realistic expectations. And you're exactly right, Cackleberry. Sometimes people just need to get past the glitz and the glam and just go, this is a house that I can afford in a good neighborhood that I like, that works for my family, that works for me, and it works for my budget. I can fix it up later. I would like to buy it now. And that's the best way. Plus, you get a huge equity increase. The sweat equity comes from it. You get to update it the way that you want over time. It's just how it needs to be. You just had this discussion with my 23-year-old granddaughter. Yeah. If she needs a good agent's advice, send her my way. I'm happy to talk to her and back you up because you're exactly right. And I'll be happy to tell her that her grandma is absolutely correct and she should listen to you because you are wise and you have done this before. But yes, I had that conversation with a lot of buyers. The first home I bought would make most people turn around and scream and run out of the house. The first house I bought, I always tell people, it looks like it was a set out of the Saw movie. Like, just, it needed a lot of help. And we bought it, we fixed it up, made a bunch of money, sold it, and bought our forever home. And it worked out great for us. And we were able to buy a house in a great neighborhood that there's no way we'd have been able to afford had it looked pretty. But because it looked gross and was gross, we were able to get into a neighborhood that was worth far more than what we should have paid. And that's what really helped us out in the long run. She doesn't realize that the house was $24,000, but we only made $300 a week. Yep. And again, all about perspective, expectations. Things were different, right? Things were just different. $300 a week is completely different than what it is now. Now people are making $300 a day, $300 an hour, depending on the profession that you work. So yeah, it's not the same. Pam, good advice. Starter homes don't necessarily mean you get everything you want. Yep, that's exactly the case. That's it. You sometimes don't get everything you want. And what people need to realize that are in that starter home phase, just like our buddy just a bit ago, Dallas with the one bedroom studio, right? Not a lot, but it's something, right? Dallas, I think Dallas will attest to this. Oh, and Dallas does. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Cackleberry Cottage. Yes, less is more. I'm happy with my little studio condo. I thought I wouldn't be able to breathe without a balcony, but nope, I'm good. Less HOA fees, less maintenance. 100% correct. Dallas is a great example of someone who said, you know what? I just want to be able to do the smart decision, make a financially wise choice, and be able to build equity. I don't need to live in the Ritz-Carlton. And that's so many young people today. And I do attest. Good. I'm glad. So many young people today just have a hard time wrapping their heads around that. And I don't know if it's necessarily their fault. They see it. You know, we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody wants, to buy a BMW at 23. Everybody wants to have the fancy jewelry, the fancy purse, all this fancy, go on the fancy vacations. And unfortunately, it's a byproduct, a little bit of social media culture. It's a byproduct of looking at people live these lives that are illusions. Remember, people, what you see on social media is a sliver of that person's actual life. And it doesn't matter if they're just a regular, ordinary person, or if they're a celebrity or a social media influencer. What they're letting you see is usually fake. It's a facade. It's a sliver. Don't worry about having what they have, because chances are they're in debt or they don't even really own what they say that they do. So just perspective, people. Let's see. She keeps saying my car costs more than her first house, but she wouldn't look twice at our first house. And it's true. But now, if she wants a house today, it doesn't cost as much as a car. It's all perspective, right? And 23-year-old, she's a Gen Z. I remember being 23 and knowing everything, right? And being convinced that I had it harder than people before me, right? my generation is always has the most difficult. Nobody's ever had it harder. Nobody in the World War II generation ever had it hard. It's not like they had a global disaster to deal with, or the threat of political uncertainty across the globe. No, nobody in the late 1800s ever had an issue with the Dust Bowl or famine. No, everybody's always had it easier, except for my generation, because I can't afford new Nikes. It's a little ridiculous. Cackleberry Dallas, exactly. You got your foot in the door now, literally and figuratively. You see what Cackleberry did there? That's a fun pun. Literally, your foot's in the door, and figuratively, your financial foot is in the growth door. Yeah, congratulations again. David Matney with the big thumbs up. Yep. Innovative. What you got for me? To the millennials that are upset about a $24,000 house, she also didn't have internet and a cell phone, a vehicle with automatic transmission, or power windows, etc. Yep. That's a great way to sum it up, right? That's a great way to just signify to people that, what we didn't have $50,000 homes. We don't have $50,000 homes today like we did back then, but also you go outside. I can't pick up my phone and show it to you because it's the camera that's recording me right now. But people are now walking around with $1,000 devices in their pocket. As standard. You take away someone's iPhone and they're like, oh, shoot, like this is a problem, right? Everybody has an iPhone, and everyone gets a new iPhone or Android or whatever, like every 2 or 3 years. We have more computing power in our pocket now than we could have even fathomed in the 1980s, right? So things are different. You make a great point, Innovative. Dallas back with us. Bingo. Exactly, Cackleberry. Yep. True. We had one car, which my husband took to work, and I stayed home with our twins and had no car. One car family, less insurance, less maintenance, and obviously less upfront cost on the car. Now it's like, if people don't have a car, it's like, what's wrong with you? You don't have a car? Like, you don't have a car for yourself? How many families out there have like 4 or 5 cars, right? Because mom has a car, dad's got a car. The 23-year-old in college has got to have a car. The 18-year-old in high school's got a car. And the 15-year-old is looking at buying a car because they got their permit, right? So tons of multi-car families now. We didn't even have a color TV, but we had that little house. Simplicity, right? The simple things in life. You had the house, you had your area, you could keep your little ones safe, you could make it your own, you had your little nest for your family. Oh, what a beautiful thing, right? Oh, stop. it. Also hit the like button. Innovative. You're making me blush. Also hit the like button, but you should hit the like button. That's the little thumbs up picture, Joe's mom. It helps YouTube promote this video to more people. Thank you, Innovative. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate that plug. And yes, if you're enjoying the stream, just do me a little favor. It'll take half a second. Go down here, right down here somewhere. Actually, it's down below. Click like, click subscribe. This is what I do every week, and I enjoy having you guys in the stream and going back and forth with you. All right, we're almost there. And then it's Joe's dinner time. However, if Trump manages to deliver strong economic growth that boosts incomes, it could make homes relatively more affordable, as tax cuts will deliver more disposable income, which Trump has promised could boost the home purchasing power of households. Yeah, that is one thing that could do it. We get some tax cuts, right? We get some economic boost that could potentially boost income. If people have more money and they're saving more money on taxes, theoretically, they have a little bit more to allocate towards a potential home purchase, therefore increasing affordability a little bit. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but any relief would be good relief. If we can get a little bit more supply in homes, that would be beneficial. If we get a little break in taxes, that would be beneficial. If we get a little boost in incomes, that would be beneficial. We put all these things together, and then all of a sudden we're headed on the right track. And this is like turning the Titanic, right? The Titanic hit the iceberg. They saw it, they turned the ship, but it's a big ship. It takes a long time to turn. And the US economy makes the Titanic look like a little toy in a bathtub, right? The US economy is a ginormous, incomprehensibly large boat. And changing the direction of the US economy takes a long, long time. But all of these little changes over time can set us right on that course. So hopefully 5 to 10 years from now, we get home affordability back to where it needs to be. I got to drink some water. I'm doing too much talking. If both income And if both income growth and tax rates come to fruition, we could see homes become somewhat more affordable in 2025 than in the past few years. The wild card, of course, is how other policies of a new Trump administration affect the price of other goods and services. Yet, still got some wild cards out there. Cackleberry, what do we got? Do people check foreclosures? We bought 2 houses here in Idlewild that way. Yes, people do check foreclosures, but Cackleberry, the issue with foreclosures right now, allow me 1 second. This is the issue with foreclosures right now. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Share this tab instead. There we go. All right, make this a little bit bigger. This is foreclosure filings. Less than 100,000. Pre-pandemic, we were in the $100,000 to $200,000 band for most of it, and coming down off the great financial crash. Yes, people do check foreclosures, but the fact of the matter is that ever since 2020, foreclosures have been like the lowest they've been in 30 to 40 years. So there's just not a ton of them out there. And the foreclosures that we are seeing are going to be happening in the slightly distressed markets, areas where we're seeing price softening, and a lot of people have equity. If you've got a lot of equity in the home, let's say your home is worth $500,000 and you only owe $50,000 on it. You have an equity position of $450,000, right? You owe 50 on something worth 500. Well, even if that home price were to crash by 100,000 and go to 400,000, well, you still have an equity position of $350,000 on that property. And when you have that high equity, it's not a foreclosure. So yes, people still are looking at foreclosures, but the state of the market and just the financial makeup that most homeowners have right now, foreclosures are just extremely low and extremely rare. So hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any more questions about that. Let's go back over here. All right, so this is actually the graph that I think is even a little bit more useful. So this is 2025 Realtor.com mortgage rate forecast. Okay, so the dotted line is where we're at today. What do we see as the big difference? What do we see as the big difference? Anybody in chat, can you tell me what you notice between this side of the graph and this side of the graph? I'm going to give it a second so that you can type in your answers. First one will get a brownie point that gets it correct. What do we see that's different between these two, the two sides of the graphs? I wish I had a soundboard so I could play the Jeopardy music while you guys figure it out. Someone's got to know. It's obvious. All right. So the difference is, look at the volatility in the interest rates. This is a graph of mortgage interest rates. Everything to the right of this line is a forecast. Everything to the left of this line is actually tracking the data. Look at the insane volatility in interest rates. Literally up, 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 down, down, level, down, up, 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 down, down, up, 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 down. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane. This is exactly the type of thing that makes buyers go, forget that. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on with the market. I don't know what type of interest rate I'm going to get. I don't know. I'm not going to do anything. And I don't blame consumers. They have no idea what's happening. They have no clue what's happening with interest rates. Why would they jump into the market, right? But look at this. On the right side, look at what they're forecasting. Yes, it is slightly trending down, but that's not the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing is, look how almost flat this line is. Look how predictable this is. Look how stable they are expecting mortgage interest rates to be. And this right here is going to do a ton for the market. Just the fact that people are going to go, oh, okay, interest rates were 6.4% last month. This month, they're 6.38%, and they're projected to be 6.41% next month. Oh, okay, so it doesn't really make a difference. And people will then start to get used to the rate. The last year, people have been waking up and refreshing interest rate graphs. No, nobody does that. That's never been a thing. Nobody's ever woke up in the morning, other than mortgage brokers, and said, what did mortgage interest rates do today? But for the last year and a half, everybody has been doing that because it's been the talk of the town. So I'm really excited just to see this very flat, gently sloping down line on this graph, because I really think it's going to increase that morale that we were talking about a little bit earlier. The Bitcoin boost is helping, consumer morale, economic morale. I think this is going to be a huge, huge boost in economic and buyer morale when it comes to mortgages and home buying. The policy agenda wildcard. On the campaign trail, Trump's proposal on housing were sweeping, though frequently light on details: cheaper homes, lower interest rates, and more new home construction. Who would hate that? Again, a lot of political speak, right? A lot of political speak. David says, I would love to see that kind of stability. However, I still think we will still see some volatility. I don't disagree with you, David. Unfortunately, I would love for them to stay stable like in that graph. I'm hoping that's what happens. Wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't end up that way. There's just so many wild cards, right? There's just so many. It's really, really difficult to know. I agree with you again. Exactly when and how the Trump administration pursues those objectives is a major question mark hanging over the housing market for 2025. Number go down. I think you're talking about the mortgage interest rate number going down. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. We're hoping for it. Fingers are crossed. All the fingers are crossed. The new forecast notes that one of Trump's proposals would address the housing shortage is to cut regulations for home builders, which estimates suggest contributes to more than $90,000 of the cost of the home. We kind of talked about this. That would be a huge, huge benefit. Trump has also called for opening up some federal land for home construction, though that proposal might mainly affect the West, where most federal lands are located. Yeah, I think that federal land, we kind of talked about this. It's a good idea. It's something good. It's a good opportunity. But remember, a lot of federal land is in the middle of nowhere, like seriously nowhere. So do people want to live in the middle of nowhere? If new homes were built in the middle of nowhere, would they be desirable? Would they sell? I don't know. But on the other hand, we need houses wherever we can get them and wherever they can be built. So by allowing more land to at least be open to the opportunity, that could make a little bit of a difference. On the other hand, some of Trump's proposals, including increased tariffs and mass deportations, could boost the price of everyday goods and services for consumers, reigniting inflation, the forecast notes. As well, new tariffs and an immigration crackdown could hit the construction industry, raising prices for new homes, the forecast warns. So all in all, it's one of those things where we just don't know what's going to happen. We've seen some just very interesting projections. Do we think the Trump bump is going to happen? It's hard to say. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to pontificate. It's fun to try to see what will happen. But at the end of the day, it's really, really, really hard to know what actually is going to happen. I want to really extend a sincere thank you to everybody that watched from beginning to end. I really appreciate you. To everyone that left a comment and chatted with me, you make it so much more enjoyable. Cackleberry, you were awesome, innovative. It's good to have you. David, you're my homie, David. It's always good having you. Thanks for your continued support. We had other people. Dallas, thank you for sharing your story with us, Dallas. Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations on your purchase, on your studio condo in Chicago. I hope you love living there. Mom is checking in. Thanks for watching the stream, Mom. Always appreciate your support in everything that I do. Who else do we have? We had someone. Oh, and we had our buddy Bryce, right? Was it Bryce Cooley? Bryce, if you're still sticking around, brother, thanks for sharing your story about real estate success. Yes, young people can do it. You can buy a home, and your success about your story in Grand Rapids. Chef's kiss. You deserve all of the beautiful karma that you get for working so hard. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I appreciate all of you. We'll be back again next Wednesday at 6:30. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, now is a great opportunity to do so. And I really appreciate your support. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll have another great topic next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you all really, really soon. Bye.